There, 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 there. No, 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 that's wrong. Dixie Diamonds 139. Edmonton, 7:38 p.m. Being both tall and in a hurry, a smiling Colonel Patterson double-timed as he led the way from the Port Barracks radio room back to his office. Patterson's smile was in response to a handcuffed Brent Carter Brency cursing under his breath as he was forced to jog along, sandwiched behind Patterson but in front of Corporal Gene Lee. Patterson, upon reaching his outer office, scanned the room for signs of the ASIO agent Corporal Cavendish had said was waiting for him. Tilting his head and furrowing his brow, the colonel motioned for his secretary to remain seated while asking, ASIO? Cecilia Cavendish's nostrils fled as she looked Patterson in the eyes and said with poorly concealed vitriol, Despite my protests, Agent Alley insisted on waiting in your office. Sir! Emphasizing the final word, vitriol, cruel and bitter criticism. Did he? Patterson replied, his head arcing upward as he looked at Cecilia from the bottom of his eyes. Thank you, Corporal, he added, stepping to his door, opening it, and entering his office where he found Agent Alley standing to the side of the door looking at the wall that held a dozen 23 by 28 centimeter photographs of 10 men and 2 women in armed service uniforms. Said photos dating back to World War I, being black and white, while the more recent ones from 9 separate campaigns ranging in color from sepia to the color quality of 9 years prior. Sepia, now in a reddish-brown color associated particularly with monochrome photographs of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Is that you at the bottom? The man asked of Patterson without preamble. No, Patterson said flatly as he still handcuffed Bretzy was led in by Corporal Lee. You must be William Alley. That one's my brother. He was named William as well. We served together, but he didn't make it back. Sorry to hear that, Alley replied as he offered Patterson his hand. Wilfred, actually, he said with a shrug as Patterson shook his hand. Family thing. Then releasing his hand. Safe to assume that this is Brent Brency, he asked, pointing towards BCB with his right thumb. Thank you for holding the prisoner. I can relieve you of him. Can you? Patterson said. Good to know. Have you identification and a warrant? Alley's head jerked back as his forehead furrowed. You're having a go, right? He asked. This one's for me. You're welcome to him, but all I've been presented is someone who either doesn't understand, is indifferent to, or wishes to flaunt etiquette and procedure. This one's been a bum go from the get-go, Patterson said, jerking his thumb at Brency. He thought we should transport him to the U.S. Embassy, and when I explained that would not be happening, he had us call Ambassador Hawkins, who was unavailable, so we extended the courtesy of him paging her. No answer to the page so far, so what I've had is a lot of roosters crowing, scratching, and puffing up their feathers. I'm afraid that before our guest goes anywhere, I need to see documentation. According to this bloke, he continued, wagging the back of his hand at Brency, he's trying to stop the communist bloc from turning our parliament members into mind-controlled zombies, so how about a little something more than just cheeky bluster? I'd love to get rid of him, but I need to know where, and I need to know who. The tension was broken when Cecilia Cavendish, via the intercom, asked, Colonel Patterson, sorry to interrupt, sir, but a woman claiming to be the United States ambassador says she's responding to a text from your number. Perfect, Patterson said, shaking his head and smiling as he crossed to his desk, pushed the talk button on top of the intercom and said, Thank you, Corporal. Then walking to the far side of his desk, sitting, lifting the receiver from its cradle and answering, Colonel Patterson, how may I help you? As he stared into Alley's eyes.